Hello pilots and welcome back to the first X-Wing flight video of 2021. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel last year, and if you're not yet a subscriber, please do hit that subscribe button. We will be bringing you regular flight commentary, unboxings, competitive play and more throughout the year. Anyway, back to the video at hand. This time I am joined by...
As James, I'm still here in the new year.
Hello James, welcome back to the channel. Great to have you on board. Again, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So hopefully we've got a really good fun game for you to watch. I know these aren't factions that you tend to fly very often, but I know that you've come up against a lot of empires, so hopefully you might know a little bit about what they're going to try and do. So on the subject of that, did you want to run us through the empire list?
Yeah, so we've got Conor joining us with Darth Vader with Hate and Fire Control System, the Grand Inquisitor with Heightened Perception, and Whisper with BT-1 and Duke.
Awesome, nice little list there. I do like the inclusion of BT-1 on Whisper using that gunner slot, so that'll be quite interesting to see how well that gets utilised. Now, against Conor today, we have Madbots running a Republic list with two of the brand new ETA 2s. We have Ayla Secura running the R4 Astromech Extreme Maneuvers. We also have Shakti in the ETA 2, also with R4 Astromech and Extreme Maneuvers. Supporting them, we have two of the BTLB Y-Wings in the form of Matchstick with R4 Astromech Thermal Detonators and Dorsal Turret, and Broadside with an R2 Astromech and the dorsal turret. So two fairly interesting lists there, quite different in their approaches.
I mean, there's abilities all round.
Yeah.
We've got the Jedi and the Sith, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Lots of Force tokens on the board.
Hopefully should make it quite interesting.
Yeah, and then the main difference I feel is that the Empire have a lot of nippy little aces, whereas the Republic have their very maneuverable ETA 2s, but also just the pure health on the Y-Wings that the Empire might struggle to get down in time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things with the Y-Wing. It's got so much health. It doesn't have... It's only got one evade dice, but it's still got a lot of health to chew through, which is what can make Y-Wings quite tricky, to be honest.
Yeah, and I feel like the ETA 2 Jedis, Shakti and Ayla Secura, are going to struggle against Conor's list, purely because they're moving first. They only have 3 health, and all of the Empire are moving after them.
Yeah, I think with the ETA 2, it's one of those ones that you need at least one of them to be going first to really capitalise on their manoeuvrability. Conor's obviously got heightened perception on there, hoping to still out-initiative in the combat phase, but not really going to take much, not really going to have much of an impact this time for him.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see... I mean, he doesn't need to use it in this game, but I'd be curious to see how often he triggers both Heightened Perception and the Inquisitor's ability in a single round, using both Force points to shoot first and deny any bonus dice.
Yeah, it is a very Force-hungry path, that one. I think Vader with Hate is obviously quite a common thing, but I think that works a bit nicer there. Obviously, with Vader does suffer damage, he gets his Force back.
Yeah, and Vader likes to use his Force because, well, he just takes all the actions he wants.
Yeah, I mean, he literally moves and goes, right, now I'm going to target lock and barrel roll and focus. And why not? I'll do an evade as well. There's all my Force gone.
Just do all the things.
Yeah.
And then we've got Whisper with BT-1 and Duke. This is the first time I've actually seen BT-1. I had to check what he does. He's a very cheap gunner for the Empire. And it's a really simple effect of, oh, you've performed an attack. You can change a hit to a crit. So long as, it's change 1 hit to a crit for each stress token the defender has. So it is situational, But for 2 points, it's a situation that might come up.
One thing that does make BT1 a bit more expensive is you do have to have Darth Vader in your squad to be able to use BT1.
Oh, that's a good point.
So
maybe that's why I haven't seen him as much.
Yeah, so with Darth Vader in the TIE Advance X1, he's fairly expensive. And if you were to have Darth Vader as a crew, he's a very expensive crew card.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a cheap card in itself, but when you combine it with the fact that you have to have Vader in there, it does make it that a bit more expensive. But again, on Whisper, I think that's a really nice gunner card to have on there. It's one of only two gunners you can only really have on Whisper that make any effect.
Basically, and Duke is amazing. It's expensive, but on Whisper it works so well. If you've got the points, which Conor clearly does, he's still got a 5-point bid in this list. Why not take it? Yeah,
absolutely. I think that Duke on the Phantom, I think there's a couple of chassis where Duke works really well. It's on the Phantom, on the TIE Defender, and the Naboo Starfighter, where they have their inbuilt ability of getting those evades. But the Phantom is probably the number one candidate to have
any of
Duke.
the ships that have a native ability just get an evade rather than using it as an evade action, definitely take Duke.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've been flying my Phantoms again recently, and with Duke being so expensive, I've gone for Deadeye Shot instead, which is a fantastic little talent card, but he's got the points here. Why not have an extremely aggressive Whisper? And I think that Conor's list in itself, it's a very aggressive list. It's a very much get in the action as quickly as possible.
Yeah, try and deal out some critical hits, which he might struggle against the Y-Wings, because they've got their special armor ability or something,
so the plated hull, while you defend, if you are not critically damaged, change one crit result to a hit result, which is really nice ability. It really it's one of those things that makes it stand out from other Y-Wings in the game. So I do, to be honest, both the ships on Madbots side, I do like the abilities for them. With the Eta 2, you've got the intuitive controls. During the system phase, you may perform a purple barrel roll or boost action.
Yeah, so it's kind of an
early advanced sensors with the Force. And it also means you don't skip your perform action step. So obviously you can't do the same action. So you can't double barrel roll like Baby Annie, or you can't double boost. But it does mean that you get that early reposition, and then you have access to another action later on, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's like spending a force point to do a BB-8 action in the system phase. It seems pretty good, but at the same time, they sort of lose out on their post-move maneuverability a bit, I think, because they don't get any... They're not like the other Jedi Starfighter where they can do double actions after moving, I think.
Yeah, it's almost like you've got to think a little bit earlier with the Eta 2 of, right, if I do that move now, where does that put me later?
Yeah, I kind of like that, because you kind of almost have to be force sensitive to know what the opponent's going to do. You must see the things before they happen.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of tricks and shenanigans that those Eta 2s have.
Oh, they are so maneuverable, particularly these two with the R4 Astromech for even more blue maneuvers.
Yeah,
there's
I mean, R4
barely
Astromech,
any white on the dial at this point, is there?
You've basically got the 3 hard and the 5 straight.
You're not going to do them much.
No. And the only other maneuvers you've got is the purple 2 Talon roll, which is amazing, and the 4 K-turn. So
so that one's the red.
Yeah.
And then both of these also have the Extreme Maneuvers Force upgrade, which is new for this ship.
It's new for this ship. It came out with the Eta 2, and that is the Force variant of Daredevil. So you can spend a Force to do a hard maneuver instead of a 1 bank maneuver as your boost. And unlike Daredevil, you don't get stressed. So yes, you do lose your Force, You have to use a force point, but you're not stressed after it. So this ship, it's very much, it's very difficult to stress this ship out.
Which is good for a 3-hull ship.
Yeah. I mean, it's a classic interceptor. It's fast. It's got a lot of evades. Interestingly, with the attacks, obviously, it's got the 2 dice normal attack, but 3 dice if it's in your bullseye as well. So
yeah, it's kind of got the built-in version of the title card that the other Jedi Starfighter has.
Built-in calibrate. A slightly better. Yeah, I think it's a tough one to say whether it's better or not, because with calibrated laser targeting, you add a focus, whereas with this, you just gain a dice. So someone could probably work out the maths on which would be better.
Yeah, because with this one, you're kind of adding a 50-50 chance. The other one, you're basically guaranteeing adding a hit, because you should have some force tokens.
Yeah, or focus tokens, yeah. So it's an interesting one. But we'll see how often they're able to get either of these two within that bullseye there.
Yeah. The Extreme Maneuvers card, is that small ship only, or anyone can take it?
That is a very good question. I'm not 100% sure.
Because I've just tried to add it to my Ray build in the Millennium Falcon, and it says I can take it on this app. So that might be fun.
So it's force. You have to have the force slot. So there's not many ships that are. The only large spaceship. Yeah, you're looking at essentially Ray in the Falcon, Leia in the Falcon.
I guess it also has to have a boost action already.
Yeah, that would be one thing.
There's probably just the Falcon. Does Ventress have a boost action? I don't think the...
Let me just have a look on the Shadowcaster to see if that does have the boost action, because I don't think it's something I would use on the Shadowcaster, to be honest.
Because at first I thought, Kanan in the Ghost could do it, but he doesn't have a boost, so that's out the window.
Doesn't have boost, and the Shadowcaster does not have boost. But I'm just gonna have a quick look. Yeah, it doesn't allow you to add it. The only other ship I can think, which I'm not overly familiar with, is the Sith Infiltrator. So it'd be interesting to see if you can put it on that. The Sith Infiltrator does not have boost, so you can't put it on the Sith Infiltrator. So it would just be your small base ships, so your Eta 2s, your Delta 7s. You wouldn't be able to put it on Vader, because he doesn't have a boost. He's got the barrel roll.
I wonder if you're allowed to put it on Luke in an X-Wing, if you equip him with the wings closed to begin with. I'm not sure what the ruling on that would be.
Let's have a quick look. We might actually get back to the game with it. There's a lot of speculation here.
They're still quite far apart.
Yeah, it's still quite far apart. So let's have a look. Luke.
In fact, the card may not even specify that it has to have a boost. It just makes sense to only put it on stuff with a boost.
It doesn't allow you to put expert maneuvers or extreme maneuvers, onto Luke in the X-Wing.
Okay.
So, bit of a shame there, but also wholly not unexpected, because that would be very powerful. So, obviously, I love that card. I think it's brilliant. I've used it on my Eta 2 build, and I did actually manage to pull off the 2 Talon roll into the Extreme Maneuvers boost.
For no stress.
For no stress. Had no force afterwards, but I wasn't stressed. I almost basically spun on a dial, and it was brilliant. So really good fun there. But like I said, I love the Eta 2. I think it's a really nice looking ship, as I mentioned in the unboxing video.
It's so small. It's tiny.
It is tiny. I think it's about the same size as the Vulture droid, because the Vultures are pretty small as well.
That makes sense.
I think the Belbulub is just slightly bigger than it. So it's just a good job they well, I say it's a good job. They might do it in the future. It's a good job they haven't done the Yoda variant, because I've seen a lot of 3D printed ones of that, and you can barely fit the peg in the bottom of it. It's so small.
It's so teeny.
Yeah. But there is a friend of mine who's printed a few off, and I think he was asked if anyone else wanted one, so I'm going to have to pick one up off him at some point, because, well, it's Yoda's
it'd be cool
Zeta 2.
to see. It's a matter of whether or not I'd be able to see it.
Yeah, that's true. You'd have to put a magnifying little spot on that section of the map every time. So, but yeah, really, really good ships. I love the F2. I think it's brilliant. And in fact, we're getting an extreme maneuvers there.
Here we go.
From Ayla.
Keeping everyone nice and close together. I'm assuming that's to maybe try and get Shark T to activate.
Yeah, so it will allow Shark T to activate, but also they're trying to stick together quite closely, so that they could also utilize Matchstick's ability. Because if you'll notice, there's a pile of target locks down towards the right-hand side of the board. They are actually all on Matchstick, because Matchstick's ability, while you perform a primary or turret attack, you may re-roll one attack die for each red token you have.
Do target locks count as red tokens?
Target locks are red tokens.
Are you allowed to target lock your own teammates without a specific upgrade?
That is a good thought, actually, because don't you need is that the resistance droid?
Yeah, M9G8 specifies that you... I'm not sure about that, but that's the rules they decided to play, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's how they decided to play it this time. I will check up on those rules, and if needs be, I'll have...
By the way, that's still a good ability.
Oh yeah, it's a great ability, and it's also really, really clever the way they've utilised that. If it's legal, if it's not legal, then oops.
Well, these things happen.
This is a casual
I may be
game.
completely wrong. They might be totally correct.
Yeah, well, what I'll do, anyone who actually knows the true ruling of that, please leave it down in the comments below. I will go off and look at that after the video, because I think we might be getting some action coming up soon, so I don't want to really miss too much there.
Yeah, these Imperials are coming in to make some sort of strike.
Yeah, they've got a good flanking maneuver on there.
I mean, given the board state, it's almost guaranteed the Whisper is going to decloak to our right, his left, because of where the Inquisitor is, and he can't possibly... You can't decloak through a cloud, right?
Unless you've got collision detectors, but we
Which
do have our...
Okay,
yeah,
so
we have our
know
first
roughly where he's going to be, and I feel like this is the best chance for the Republic to catch him, because otherwise he's just going to be all over.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Whisper just went no.
Well, as he often does, really.
He does.
Whisper.
I mean, he had the effect, does that?
Is Whisper a woman?
I always think of Whisper as a woman. Every old art card I've seen has seen her as a woman.
Oh yeah, the old art is a female. Okay, well, Whisper, in that case, she said no, and that's how she got the nickname.
Yeah, she's very good at that. I think she's better at evading than a lot of aces. She's better at evading than I've ever found Soon TFL to be. So there's Conor with a shot from Whisper there, I believe, and forgetting about...
must be a returning shot. That's a lot of green dice, though.
Yeah.
And has at least a force. Yeah. You cannot afford to take any amount of damage with 3 health.
Yeah, not early on either. Oh, so that was actually for the Grand Inquisitor. So evidently he used a force to ignore the range.
So now Ada has no force tokens.
But unfortunately, Whisper kind of whiffed that one.
Still has Duke, though.
True.
Here come the green dice.
Not that it's really going to make much difference. Wow, 5 green dice there.
I mean, the Duke only just saved that, nearly got the damage through.
Well, she would have had the cloud as well to flip that.
Yeah, so I feel like the Republic should be going for Whisper early on, just because they are so difficult to catch.
Yeah, if you can catch a Phantom early, then I would definitely do that, because they're squarely.
Yeah. Who do you think Conor should be targeting from the Empire side? but as the Empire targeting the Republic.
So I think it's an interesting one because you kind of want to, you obviously want to get rid of those Eta 2s because they're kind of like Whisper in the fact they're quite glass cannony. They don't have a lot of health. You can get them down quite quickly, and they can be very manoeuvrable. However, I think that you're better off trying to whittle down Matchstick early on because he's got those thermal detonators.
Oh yeah, the new ones. You can throw out a couple of them at a time, I think.
Yeah, so thermal detonators, they're really, I like them, they're really cool. So during the system phase, you may spend up to 2 charges to drop that many thermal detonators using the 1 or 2 straight template. Each must be placed using a different template. Now, you don't have to drop 2, you can just drop 1, and you can do it at either 1 or 2. So it's almost like you've got Skill Bombardier on there straight away.
Does that have any relation to using that card? Can you drop it a 3 and a 1 if you've got that equipped as well?
If you've got Skill Bombardier, you could drop it at 1, 2, and 3 because it allows you to drop it at 1 more.
Oh, that's how many? Because how many charges does the card have?
It has 4 charges, so you can
drop. Wow.
Yeah. So obviously you can drop a maximum of 2 at a time, but you could go 1 and 3 and really sort of like close off a lane. Also, if you have the reload ability, you actually recover up to 2 charges.
Oh, you get an additional charge back?
Yeah, so
all right.
If you've used 2 and you reload, you're then back up to 4, which is quite nice.
And what is the effect of the thermal detonator when it blows up? Is it just damage or?
Within range 1, you roll a dice for each ship. Get nothing on a blank. You get a strain token on a focus, a hit on a hit, and a crit on a crit.
Okay, so there's a bit of variety.
Yeah, it's quite a varied one. It doesn't necessarily do a huge amount of damage, being only 1 dice rolled compared to, say, proton bombs. But the fact you can pop 2 of them down and you could potentially strain a ship. So, I mean, I think of all the red tokens, strain is probably, for ships like Vader, the Inquisitor, and Whisper, strain is probably the one they want the least.
Yes.
Because it's removing an evade token or an evade dice.
Yeah, so we saw Ayla just do the
force boost.
Yeah, the pre-move boost to presumably get around the cloud, and is likely to do just a sharp turn at this point.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. One thing we saw as well last term, which we didn't pick up, Shakti actually used her ability to allow Broadside to keep hold of his focus. So Shakti's ability, at the start of the end phase, you may spend any number of force to choose that many friendly ships at range 0 to 2. Each chosen ship does not remove 1 focus or evade token during this end phase. So that's a really cool ability, and
that is cool.
This is something that I'm still not 100% sure on, but it's the way I'm reading it, because that's at the start of the end phase. If you do it once, you spend that force to do it, then you regain that force. Because there's no official timings for it.
Yeah, because the timing for getting a force back is
during the end phase.
And that does say at the start. I don't see why not. And also, it's range 0 to 2, so she can do it on herself.
So you essentially have that ability
like
just
she has done?
No.
Or is that the action from this round? I was looking at her card.
That's the action for this round.
Okay,
so
that's the action for this round.
Ayla's done a 4K there,
interesting.
bumping the Inquisitor.
It's a good bump.
It is a very good bump. Be interesting to see if Whisper, I think he's going to do, she will probably do 2 or... Oh no, Whisper was candy caning it. So hoping that I think that Madbots is going to go a bit faster there and get caught up in an alley.
And then particularly with that barrel roll happening, you now just focus as much as you can into the Inquisitor because he has no tokens other than the Force.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think the difficulty is...
whether Ayla will survive?
Whether Ayla will survive, yeah, because Ayla's definitely getting a shot from Whisper and a shot from... Well, Vader's going to shoot at Ayla. If Ayla's still there, Whisper will. So there's a target lock.
Vader grabs the target lock for his fire control system.
And spending a force for a focus, as Vader does.
It's the most efficient thing to do with him.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I can't quite... I think the Y-Wings, their dorsal turret is to the right, unfortunately, but they should have the Inquisitor within range.
Well, the dorsal is only range 1 to 2, so they might have not even been in range for that anyway.
Yeah.
Vader definitely has a shot. I think they're just seeing if it's going through that cloud or not.
Yeah. And I think they called it... Yeah. Conor keeps forgetting that the dice cards there. This is still quite a new thing for us. But 2 hits...
Does he...
I'm curious as to whether he's going to spend the force or the focus.
I mean, he's probably not getting shot at. So just use the focus.
Spend the focus. And then advanced targeting computer.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great hit.
Oh, now if
Ayla has no force. And
it's not through the cloud.
It's not through the cloud.
Oh,
that is a one-shotted Eta 2.
I feel like that's going to happen a lot with these ships.
Yeah, I think they're a lot more fragile than the Delta 7.
Oh, much more fragile. I mean, how much health does
the Delta 7 natively has 3 hull and a shield.
Okay, so they got 1 extra shield.
But you can obviously add the Delta 7 title, which adds 2 shields.
Oh, that's true.
It does reduce their evade down by 1. And
it looks like now we've got...
That's Inquisitor. That'll be going into, I'm assuming, broadside there.
Yeah, probably.
And there's broadside's ability ignoring one of the crits because he hasn't suffered a crit. So that's,
couple of shields.
That was 1 shield suffered on
broadside. 1 shield, sorry.
He spent his focus. He spent the focus. Yep. He actually had 2 focuses there because he had the focus token from last round. So no shot from Whisper. Shakti going to see if she can avenge.
Is that the bullseye for the extra dice? Extra die, rather.
I would say it is.
It definitely looks like it from here. I think he's just working out if he wants to shoot with matchstick first. But I don't think there's really any question about it. There's no tokens on Inquisitor.
He's got a force and that's it. There's no real advantage to shooting with matchstick first. Let's have a look.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. Because neither of them have an advantage when it comes to attacking. I mean, Matchstick will be shooting with 2 dice and Ayla with 3. So there we go. It is Ayla going first. So
Ayla's up first.
Hit, crit.
That's a good roll. That's
a very good roll. So
spin a force and take 1 crit, which should just be a shield.
Yeah. So yeah, he is spending that force. Yeah. I think you'd be silly not to, especially knowing that you are going. I know that you're still going to be getting shot, but you know there you can minimise damage.
Yeah, he's in a similar boat to the Eta 2s in that you've got such little health to begin with that any amount that you can stop, you stop.
And there we go. So he's just evaded that one. And now we have Broadside taking his shot.
And Broadside has the R2 astromech, which is the shield regen one, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got the shield regen R2, which is an interesting choice to split off what they both had. So with Matchstick with the R4 and Broadside with the R2, it can make it a little bit harder to fly them in a potential formation, but it does allow Broadside to regain his shield if he decides. Does mean it's a disarm token though, which for a Y-Wing, I'm not 100% sure if I go with R2 because they're less likely to be able to disengage from a fight than say the Eta 2, like the Delta 7 could with its shields. like Obi-Wan with R2, for instance, or Anakin.
Yeah, I've tried it on just like X-Wings before now, and I find I just never do it. I always try and just stay in the fight, which I probably shouldn't do as much as I do, but at the same time, it never feels worth it to take the disarm token.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
Now, here's the usual game with Whisper. Which way does she decloak? I'm gonna say like away from the camera. Just get further away and then turn around. Okay. I said it before it happened.
Yeah, you could. I think, to be honest, that is the best option there, because if you come down, you're going to put yourself right in the mix of them. And I think you'll just block up any. You might block them, but you'll also block up any potential moves you have, and just leave yourself in a poor position. You
keep your distance, but you don't look like you're keeping your distance.
Yeah, I mean, Whisper can still get back down into the fight quite quickly, doing like a too hard, and then she's got a straight shot
or even just decloak towards the enemy.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the Inquisitor does, because he bumped, he's at a strange angle and he's facing a cloud. I'm wondering if he goes towards the camera or towards where Whisper is.
I would say one hard down the board and just sort of... Oh, okay. Shakti is jumping straight over.
Oh, okay.
So if he was using the Force to know that Shakti was there, I'd definitely be saying do that one hard down, although it might be a bump. But I think given where they are, a one hard down and then maybe barrel roll out would be a good option to give yourself the chance to reposition now that you're in a funny angle. Because that cloud is not in a good spot, really. So while we're waiting for the guys to get their movement out of the way, have you got any New Year's resolutions for yourself in relation to X-Wing for this year, James?
I think just get some more games in, because I didn't get that many in last year with things as they were, but I think maybe try and use a more variety of ships, maybe go back to some more Rebel stuff. I kind of got into a bit of a rut of T-70 X-Wings and maybe some Millennium Falcons, and especially since playing like Squadrons, I want to play some of the classic Rebel stuff again. Yeah,
that does sound quite cool. I mean, for myself, I've set myself sort of two little challenges for this year, which is to fly every chassis I own at least once.
Okay.
Bearing in mind there's only 8 chassis of those that are out that I don't own, so I'm going to have to be doing a lot of games and maybe just flying a lot of variation in those. And also with the various ships that I've started repainting, actually finish repainting them as well.
Yeah.
So those are my two sort of like X-Wing based New Year's resolutions.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be curious, anyone that is watching this video, if you've set yourself any New Year's resolutions in relation to X-Wing or maybe even any other miniatures game. I'd love to hear what you're challenging yourself to. So if you can pop those in the comments below, I'll be quite interested to see what you guys...
And then, at the end of the year, come back to this video and reply to your own comment or edit it or however you want to do it and see if it worked, see if you did it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be great to see who actually sticks with it.
The Inquisitor's resolution should be not to bump into Eta 2s, because he's done it again.
Yeah. Although I think
that is a lot of red dice.
Yeah, I think Vader's... not even bothering with the New Year's resolution this year. He's just
That is the equivalent of that Rogue One scene at the end, but in spaceships.
Yeah. He has literally just gone in and ripped broadside.
Which is kind of ironic, because broadside's just been broadside.
Yeah. And he does now have the Grand Inquisitor from the other side.
And if that doesn't finish him off, Whisper's probably going to take the shot as well.
Yeah.
It's another blank.
Thing is with Whisper, I think Connor's going to go for Shakti, and I agree actually. If you've got an Eta 2 at range 1, 2, it's not great. We've got Duke. He hasn't used Duke. To be honest, he would have spent that focus to. So even if he duked the focus, he'd then focus them both away. So
now, which direction are the turrets facing on the Y-wings? Are they towards Vader at the moment?
They are facing Vader at the moment.
Okay, so potentially you're going to get some damage on Vader, because that's a decent amount of firepower going at him.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Shakti and Matchstick and Broadside all facing Vader. And
I didn't think Shakti would have him in Arc, but okay.
Just in Arc. It's through the cloud, though. So...
Oh, well, in that case, it doesn't matter.
So
a roll like that and the cloud...
Yeah, Vader basically went, so I can roll 4 hits, and I can also roll 4 evades. He's really Qui-Goning those dice.
Yeah, Qui-Gon would be a little too handy at just board games in general.
Yeah.
Really.
I would like it if
except maybe Monopoly. I feel like in Monopoly you try and play with Republic credits and they're no good.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to see Qui-Gon introduced into the game as a crew card. Maybe if they do an epic ship for the Republic, like the Consular class.
I wonder what his ability would be.
I think it'd be a bit Palpatine-y, is it Dooku?
I like what they did with the Clone Wars era Jedi, where like Yoda adds, I think, coordinate, and Plo Koon adds reinforce and stuff like that. I could see him being like an evade, maybe. Yeah.
Or I think if he had something similar to, I think it's Count Dooku's ability, where you basically call a dice result, spend a force to call a dice result, and like it will be there, but more on a defensive side, rather like you can only do it to your own stuff rather than to the other person. But again, it'll be interesting. There's still a lot of scope for what they can bring into the Republic side.
Oh, there's so many Jedi.
So many Jedi. We still got the Republic era Z95 to come to the game, which I actually, you know what, quite looking forward to seeing that model because it'd be quite a nice one. There's no large base ships yet, which we've got.
I'm wondering what they're going to do about that. Whether or not they're going to just not do one, or maybe make up one. Because the FFG made up the Imperial Raider. Now that's a full-on thing in canon.
Yeah. I don't know if they would do that. I mean, there's plenty of ships that they can do for large base. They're mainly shuttles, but there are shuttles that can be used. You've got some of Padme Amidala's ships are about the right size for large base. That's
true. The Royal Naboo fighter, well, not fighter, the transport.
Yeah.
Episode 1. That would look really cool, actually, on the board.
That would probably be more. I think that's borderline epic, unless they scaled it off. I was thinking more. One of the ones from episode 2 or episode 3 would be closer.
Slightly smaller versions of it.
They would be closer to the right size, because I think that the Naboo ship from episode 1 is massive. I think it'd be sort of on par with the GR75 transport.
I'm trying to picture in my head now. Yeah, I guess it is probably on the larger side.
Yeah, I think it's a bit bigger than the Ghost. So
that's a good way of putting it, because the Ghost probably is the size of a Rebel transport as it is, just a bit squished.
Yeah,
but they wanted it on the board, so they made it large.
Yeah, and the Ghost does fly in the TV show. It flies a bit more like an extremely heavy fighter, but it's more maneuverable.
Oh yeah.
So I think it would have just felt really stunted if it was epic sized.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts on Matchstick dropping a thermal detonator here?
It's definitely an interesting one, because I'm looking at Vader's options, And I can imagine Vader is wanting to do some form of K-turn, because I don't think he'd want to do a Talon, because you've got the Cloud on his left and the Inquisitor on his right. So I think Vader's doing a K-turn. So I think that's a very good thermal detonator there, to be honest.
And then where is Matchstick going? He
was doing that
so
too
they
hard.
are firmly trying to stop Vader doing any slow maneuvers, at least, like a sharp turn.
Well, it's a double bump there into Vader, still keeping them in formation because their bumps look like they are still parallel with each other, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And they're out of range of the thermal detonators themselves. And Shakti...
It's close to that Cloud, but I think she's done it.
Yeah, she's 4K'ing by the Cloud. I think that's actually...
Yeah, looks good.
Wonder. Yeah, I like that. It all depends on where the Inquisitor goes now. If he decides to, after bumping twice, to follow the Ether and go, you know what, I want some of my paperwork back, please.
I feel like because you know where Shakti is and where she was pointing, I feel like it's a very safe thing to just do a one turn towards where she is now and not bump again.
Yeah, I say
he's already working on his New Year's resolution. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I say one turn, take the focus would be the best option.
Let's see what he's done. It's something I can't see.
It is a one turn.
There it is.
There we go. One turn, take the focus. The great thing is the Y-Wings can't shoot you because their dorsal turrets are down. I kind of hope the Whisper's done it too hard back towards the board.
He's definitely turned inwards. There's no way he hasn't. I might be wrong. He's holding the 110 plate. Oh no, that's for.
He's debating the. He was doing the barrel roll. Getting himself out of bullseye.
Yeah, but is that getting in the way of Whisper?
No, because if Whisper's doing
quite. It's close.
Oh,
is it a bump?
No, it.
Wow.
That's good. That's nice.
That was a risky barrel roll for the bump, but it's paid off. And then Vader has Vader.
That does look like a 4K there. So Vader is going to feel the wrath of those thermal detonators.
And he can't even use the Force to do any other actions and get out of it.
Nope.
And he doesn't really benefit from hate because he's already at full Force.
Yeah.
That's a really good thermal detonator.
I like thermal detonators. They are just fun.
They are the Star Wars grenade. And I love the idea in this that someone's like rolled down the window and just thrown them out.
Yeet. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's a strain on that. That's actually good for Madbots. I mean, he'd have preferred damage, but I think a strain is still really good because he's got both of his dorsal turrets facing that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think both the dorsals still have a shot on Vader, and at least the first one to shoot, which would be Matchstick, who is the closer one to him.
And also has a lot more health. Yeah. So, depends on what happens. I'm pretty sure that the Inquisitor and Whisper are going to shoot at Shakti. Vader
must try and finish broadside. Sure.
Yeah, I say you've got to try and finish broadside there. But I think with the Grand Inquisitor and Whisper, they could also try and help. Like Whisper at least could also try to help and take out broadside. But if you've got two shots at Shakti, I think that's your best option.
On a 3 agility ship with 2 force tokens.
Yeah.
I think you have to.
And you've got
first off, we've got the Vader.
Yeah. So Vader is going to be shooting at broadside.
Is he as angry as last turn? No, he's calmed down a little bit.
He's calmed down a little bit, but I mean he's using the Force, and he's got his.
He thought he was calm, then he remembered something, and now he's angry again. Now what's
bye broadside
gone?
That is broadside gone. Didn't manage to get the crit onto him, but did manage to take him out.
Yeah, who needs crits when you've got enough damage anyway?
Yeah.
So who's shooting first out of these two?
So that was the Inquisitor spending a force to get the range 1 bonus.
Okay, cool.
Doing a really, really solid roll. There's Ayla Shakti going, yeah, I'm fine with that.
And then Whisper taking her shot.
Range 2.
That's good.
2 hits, that's not bad.
With the Duke.
Oh, got a stress. So using BT1 to change it to a crit. Juking that. So Shakti now needs to...
Has to spend both force points.
Both force. So that was a really good shot there from Whisper.
Yeah, I mean, no damage, but stripping force tokens is great.
It means it's gonna... She's only going to have one... She's got no force for her shot back. She's got no way of changing her roll. She needs to do a blue maneuver, but as we discussed earlier, her dial is basically blue now.
Yeah.
So...
Do you think Matchstick drops another thermal detonator here? Maybe a couple?
I would say that's a likely thing to happen.
And then... Actually, has Whisper cloaked, or are we...
We're just having a look...
Oh, yeah, we're still...
we're just having a look at Matchstick's shot back. Effective.
Oh,
but he's got target lock on him, so he gets 1 hit.
1 feel for the strain.
Laughs it off, and the strain goes away.
I mean, you still take the shot, because Vader's going to do a blue to go with his stress anyway, but...
Oh yeah, absolutely. You take that shot.
That's disappointing to get the detonator, get the strain, and ultimately no damage.
Yeah, I think losing broadside didn't help. I mean, I know that obviously the strain would only affect 1, but again, we know the more weight of fire, even if it's like 2 dice shots, the more you go through, the more those green dice are going to fail you, because the green dice are horrible and hate you unless you are Fen Rao.
Or in this game, Vader.
Or in this game, Vader, yeah. I mean, they definitely hate you if you are a light side force user, it would appear.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why Order 66 was as effective as it was, really.
Yeah.
I know there's several that slipped through the cracks, but this is showing that not all of the force is on your side.
Indeed. And it looks like we actually have a double thermal detonator drop here.
Or is he dropping a 1 and a range 2?
Yeah, he's dropping. There's the range 2. See, it's a little bit awkward though, trying to do it.
There's a little bit, yeah.
You definitely have to do the range 2 one first. I mean, it looks cool. It looks cool when you've got them just yeah.
It might be worth having a little marker that's the distance between the 2 tokens.
Yeah, or having one that has so you've got the range 1, and then it goes up and across, and that little bit that makes it to a range 2. So
or maybe,
you can...
maybe even just a larger token that has both of them printed on it, and just you don't count the little gap in between.
There's many things. I'm pretty sure that someone out there, Cargo 2 or any of the other templates, will do something like that. Although I've got a lot of the tokens in acrylic, but I don't actually have the bombs in acrylic. I just haven't seen the need to.
I just don't use bombs enough to even really look into it.
I've started using them a fair amount, actually. I think they are a lot easier and a lot better to use in 2nd edition. So
did Whisper cloak and decloak here?
Yeah, Whisper cloaked because she was right behind.
Oh yes, and decloaked on the board. Sorry, I was decloaked on the bombs.
Yeah, so
bit of a knock. That's not looking great for the.
No.
And he's put his head down because he's just realised what he's done, I think.
Yeah, he has
He's
just
thrown
realised.
Shakti up next to both of his own thermal detonator bombs.
Yeah.
I don't think he can barrel roll away because the Inquisitor's there.
Yeah, and even if he was to spend the force and do an extreme manoeuvre away, I think you're still going to be in range 1 there. So just go for a regular barrel roll, regular boost.
I mean, it definitely gets him away from 1.
Oh,
That's close. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's very close. But I think Shakti might have been caught there.
Yeah, I like this maneuver from Matchstick though, because his turret's facing to the side he wants. He isn't too fussed about
strain.
In fact, if he gets a strain, he gets his ability.
Yeah.
So, and he's got extra cover from the cloud. He's further away from the bombs.
He does get a strain.
That seems pretty good. Inquisitor's coming around.
Oh, 2 Talon roll.
Oh, the Talon. Okay.
Nice. I've said it so many times on this channel, but the 2 Talon roll is probably
it's
most
the coolest
unexpected
maneuver.
Yeah. Everyone forgets. Like, they know obviously about the big 3 Talon roll, but I think the 2 Talon roll is the most unexpected maneuver you get, and it's brilliant. I prefer Talon rolls generally over K-turns. I think K-turns take you sometimes too far away in most situations. Unless you're K-turning over something, I tend to prefer your Talon roll.
The 3 Talon roll is nice. The 2 Talon roll is great. What about the B-Wings 1 Talon roll?
It's just rude and abusive. It's
okay.
It's too much. It's too far. They're taking the mick with that. It's almost as bad as taking the mick with, say, the droid tri-fighter that also has the 1 Talon roll.
Oh, does it? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even the Vulture droid that has the 1 K-turn. So those sorts...
Yeah.
They're very sneaky maneuvers.
Right. So we're measuring for these bombs. Vader's definitely caught by...
Vader's caught by both.
1.
So Shakti takes a strain. That's not good.
I mean, it's not damage.
But she's got Whisper and the Grand Inquisitor looking right at her.
And Vader takes a strain and a damage?
Strain and a damage. Now, what I would say, and they're actually debating it now, if ever you are being affected by 2 things at once, do roll them separately, because they will have different... If you'd have got a hit and a crit there, which one do you then apply first?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So if it says...
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, if it says roll 2 dice, roll 2 dice. That's fine. But if it's roll a dice for each, always roll them separately.
Because they are technically separate bombs blowing up at separate times. Yes, that is the best way to do that. Fortunately, in this case, it didn't really matter. Vader did trigger his hate and got an extra force point. Not that he's really probably going to need it this round.
No. Ooh. That.
Ouch.
And that's from... I believe that's from the Grand Inquisitor at Shakti.
Oh, well, okay.
F's in the chat for the Etta 2s. Goodbye. Yeah. Wow.
I know it's Matchstick versus almost the fully healthy list of Conor.
Yeah, Conor has taken 2 damage. I mean, Matchstick is fully healthy and has almost as much health as Conor's entire list.
That is true.
But
he's only shooting once.
He's only shooting once. Oh, so 2 rerolls there for the red tokens. He'd prefer just to leave it at focuses. So that's 1 damage, unless...
Actually, no. Conor has taken 3 shields. Because Vader has 2 and Inquisitor has 2.
Correct, you are right there.
It's not all lost for the Republic.
It's not all lost.
Although he still doesn't actually have any points on the board.
No, and Conor has a lot. And with just under 22 minutes to go, it'll be very difficult to turn this
I'll
around.
be impressed if Matchstick can at least grab half on either Vader or Inquisitor at this point.
Yeah, I think I agree. If he can grab half points on either one of them, it would be very impressive. We are getting the final thermal detonator being dropped.
Yeah, that's fair enough, because possibly Vader's going to go over that way.
Yeah.
Might get another bit of damage on him. What do you think the ETA2 should have done differently? Because I feel like they were maybe too in the middle of things and should have been maybe skirting around the outside whilst the Y-Wings took center stage kind of thing.
Yeah, I do. I completely agree with that. I think that the ETA2, it's not a jouster. You don't want it flying down the teeth of something. It needs to be coming in from the side and whittling the enemy down whilst you've got something in the middle. I mean, unless you're flying it in a formation with other sort of like nippy ships that are quite maneuverable, I think, yeah, it's a shame because you kind of wanted Shakti to be in there with the Y-Wings for her ability. But yeah, they definitely need to be more around the outside and try and outflank the enemy ship, which for this is quite difficult because they are extremely maneuverable ships.
Yeah, I like the ETA2s together and I like the two Y-Wings together, but I'm not sure that these four sort of work as a team as well, purely because they are so different in speed and maneuverability that the ETA2s just go away from the fight, and then the Y-Wings just can't keep up enough to benefit from the abilities for long enough.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even get to see Ayla's ability.
No, Ayla's ability didn't even... Well, we didn't really get to see Ayla that much. She was with us for such a short time.
That's true.
Although right now, we've definitely got one ship being hit by the thermal detonator and not getting a shot back. Let's see.
Oh, go on. Boost into the thermal detonator.
Yeah, the Inquisitor's not got himself in a great position because there's nowhere for him to go. I think he was probably expecting Matchstick to turn back towards his board edge.
Possibly.
And Vader... That's A3 Talon. So
and another thermal detonator exploding on, but he's been very good with these thermal detonators. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I think the only thermal detonator that didn't do any damage was the very first one. That hit all three.
Yeah, again, very good with them. It's a case of whether or not they'll do any damage. That was a blank.
Yeah, that's nothing on Whisper.
A hit on someone.
The Grand Inquisitor takes a shield.
It's got some points on the board.
And Vader takes a crit.
And he has no shield, so he definitely takes a crit.
So it's half points on the Grand Inquisitor.
Wow.
And it was direct hit. So he's managed to half point.
With one thermal detonator, that makes up for the average, well, maybe less than average damage on the other ones, but that is good. And he still has... No, that was his last charge, wasn't it?
That was his last charge. Now, I know last week I dropped our favourites of 2020 video, and if this had come out a couple of days sooner, I think that would have been included in the 2020.
Yes.
Because
put that on the list for this year's, because that was a good bomb.
That is a very... Ooh.
I mean, it's one thermal detonator that gave him 64 points.
Yeah. Because have to spend that time lock from Vader there.
And even then, it's spending his force points probably to get the damage.
Yeah. And because he has used his
he doesn't get
advanced time to the computer doesn't trigger.
Yeah. Although it wouldn't matter in this case because of Matchstick's built-in anti-crit stuff.
He has just accepted 3 shields there.
Does Inquisitor has a shot, but I don't think Whisper does.
Whisper definitely doesn't, no. That'd be, yeah, Whisper's definitely out of shooting there. I mean, if it was me, I'd be tempted to try and see if I could strip Whisper of her evade so that she has to go.
So, yeah. So she can't decloak and is then facing that cloud. And then
evaded that.
Dodges.
It's almost a shame he didn't spend that force on it, but because I don't think it'd be nice to get Vader, but I don't think he's within range 2 of the dorsal turret.
He's checking. It's close, but I think
it's just out.
If it's in, then I think you go for it because he's on 1 health and only 1 force point. But I think he's probably going to have to go into Whisper. 3 dice.
Yep, going into Whisper.
It's a good roll.
That's good. Hit, crit.
That's almost certainly going to use up the evade token.
So it's take both shields or spend that evade. Okay, yeah, he's taking both shields so he doesn't go through the gas cloud. I mean, I agree with that, personally. I think that is the better option.
I don't know, because the only way you can decloak is towards the Y-wing, you know?
You can fit that and then just do a K-turn off the top. It'll fit.
Yeah, I guess if you decloak towards the back, you can probably just squeeze in.
I think you can decloak. You might not be able to decloak to the front, to the middle, but you could definitely decloak to the back, and it'll fit.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they're not quite parallel, so it would actually sort of swing just a bit in front of the Y-wing there.
See, I feel like you spend the evade, take less damage, and then just spend a couple of turns just going away from the fight, go as fast as you can through the cloud, maybe take a strain for a turn, and turn around and come back in.
I mean, that is an option.
You've got a good enough board state with Inquisitor and Vader chasing the Y-wing that you can probably afford to do that.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think what he wants to do is decloak down, do the K-turn so that he can try and get a shot on and see. He wants to get as many shots into Matchstick to get him down before Matchstick has a chance to take out either Vader or the Inquisitor.
True, and I guess the decloak down would force any bumps on a slow move from Matchstick.
Yeah. But he's just doing his donuts right now.
No, that's a sensible thing to do.
Yeah.
You know that the decloak is going to be right in front of you, so you plan for it, and that's a good maneuver.
And you've got your turret to the right anyway.
Yeah, so I also appreciate his expertly thrown focus token that landed just in the right spot.
Yeah.
I've tried that before and it's gone off the board. It's a nightmare. You gotta find it and pick it up.
Oh yeah, it hits and rolls, and then it goes under the table, and it's too dark down there to be able to see the thing.
Yep. And there's the K-turn, as you said.
3 K-turn. So 1 hard. Yeah.
I get the feeling this might be it.
I'm curious as to what Vader does, as to whether if Vader just does like a 3-bank straight in and just goes, yeah, why not?
I mean, this is just a friendly game, isn't it? It's not a...
Oh, it's just a friendly game.
Yeah, so in this case, stay in the fight. I think that's a good move. If it were a tournament, you're trying to preserve your points, then definitely get Vader out of there at this point.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, with the current climate, there will be no tournament or competitive play for a while, as we've just got into tier 4 in our area. So, but I am hoping to get some more tournament play, looking to try and set up some form of league as well.
When we get some league games.
Yeah. We've got a couple of different variations of that, which I'm just trying to work through with Pete, who runs in Toyman, where we tend to play. So it's things that are on the cards at the moment. So
this is Whisper taking a shot.
Yeah, it's a solid 1 hit.
It's only 1, but it goes through. There's no point sparing that focus because of the Duke.
Yeah, true.
Now the Inquisitor, I think.
Yeah, range 1. Spend the force.
It's 3. It's still not enough to kill.
It's enough to put him onto 1, though.
That is a lot, though.
Yeah. This is Matchstick burning brightly.
Matchstick hasn't had to spend the focus on defense.
So he can get a range 1 shot on the Inquisitor. Spending that focus for hit
Hitting
crit.
a crit, it could happen. We've already seen a direct hit on Vader.
We've got the crit, which is...
What's the crit?
Damaged engine. Oh,
I mean, that's a terrible crit for the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, it's a terrible crit for the Grand Inquisitor.
But it's not also the one that you wanted to see.
Yeah, I would also say it's probably a terrible crit for Madbots. I think he would have much preferred a direct hit there. But you know what? Considering how early he lost Ayla and how relatively quickly or ineffectively he lost Shakti, he's done very well.
He's done amazingly with Matchstick alone.
Yeah, I mean, those thermal detonators, they're not even that expensive either. I think they're something like 4 points.
I think they have to be cheap just because they aren't guaranteed damage. You still have to roll for it.
Yeah, they're not super powerful. 3 points at the time of
okay.
At the time of recording this. I think they're not super powerful, but they're convenient. They do a job and they do it really well, actually.
Yeah, I mean they're a good deterrent.
Yeah, I also think that for 3 points, if you've got some points spare and you've got something that can drop bombs, they're definitely worth sticking on.
Yeah, I would argue that if you didn't have the points for them, maybe take off the astromech.
I mean, you could have dropped the R2 astromech to an R4, and then you could have potentially actually put thermal detonators on both Matchstick and Broadside.
Ooh,
but given the way that they were flying, it will be a lot more. Although if you just dropped it at 2, it'll be okay.
I mean, 2 sets being dropped by both Y-Wings is such an area of the board behind them, though.
Yeah. And I think Y-Wings sort of expect as well that they're going to end up having something behind them. I'm just trying to think of other ways you could play them that'd be quite...
I'm still not great with bombs.
Yeah. But I was thinking about Emad Azameen. How would it work with that? Because he can do them at range 3.
Oh, that's...
How would Emad Azameen... Would he do it at range 3 and then one at range 2? But then could he then do one at a 2 hard template and a 3 hard template?
Everywhere.
That'd be crazy.
That's something I want to see.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to just see let Emad Azameen chuck out cluster mines at range 3 on a hard range 3 and just go, there we go, that's that line gone.
Now, if Matchstick does survive this round, he deserves a promotion.
Yeah, definitely. He should be initiative 5 after this if he survives. I mean, unfortunately, I kind of doubt it, but...
Yeah, I mean, I do as well.
Yeah. Spend the force.
Particularly after that, because that's already guaranteed death, because he's only got 1 evade, but he did well.
Yeah, I will say Matchstick. I actually think Matchstick was the MVP of that match. Flew really well, great thermal detonators. It was a shame about the Etters, but I think, you know what, Madbots flew those Y-Wings.
He flew the Y-Wings
really well.
I think the Etter2s are still very new to everyone, and yeah, don't get them as stuck in the middle as he did.
Yeah, they're definitely more flanker ships. Flank with them rather than going straight down the gut. But you know what? That was a really entertaining game. I really enjoyed that one. So
yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, so thank you very much to Conor and Madbots for agreeing to be on the channel. First game of 2021. Like I said, hoping to get you lots more regular games as and when all the Tier 4, Tier 3 lockdown Order 66 allows. But we'll get as much out to you as possible. James, again, thank you very much for joining me there.
You're welcome.
So hopefully we'll get you back on the channel soon. But guys, I just want to say again, thank you very much for all of your support last year in 2020. I very much appreciated it. If you haven't already subscribed, please do click that subscribe button. Leave any comments down below of anything you want to see us attempt on the channel with lists or ships you want to see. We'll do our best to get them on there. What I'll do, I'll leave you to it now, guys. Thank you very much, and we will see you soon.